So a lot of people have been MCP built. If you don't know who I am, I work at Sentry. I do random stuff, but I built this. I actually don't think MCP is that good, but bear with me for this. You can talk to me afterwards why. Mostly because the demos are like, oh, look, it connects to an API and it's contrived. But what is cool is when you find a natural fit, and we'll find more natural fits. But Sentry has one. It's beta. Probably breaks all the time. You should use Sentry so you know when it breaks. Hopefully most of you do, but nobody does. I promise you, all of these things are broken and nobody knows because we found half the bugs in this. Thank you, Cloudflare. I love you, but the stuff was really broken. Also, thank you, Neon. You inspired a bunch of the work on this. We have one, mcp.sentry.dev. You can look it up. It doesn't really matter. It exists. It works. I do not do live demos, so I refuse. Let's see, what was I going to do with my scripted tabs that hopefully are cached? This is Sentry. Hopefully everybody uses it. If you don't, it's confusing why you're here. This is a bug in Sentry. This is like actually a real bug in Sentry. It's a production bug. It's quite large. You can always see it. We have this thing. It's got a new name every other week. I actually think when I was doing this earlier, it was not called Sear. It was called Autofix. It'll probably be called something else tomorrow. But there's this little widget in the corner. The idea is, by the end of this year, we automatically generate a PR for every bug that is trivial and is a real bug. So you don't have to fix it, because we all write a lot of bugs. We've got job security over here. Anyways, we have this little thing, it goes through it. I'm just going to show you what it looks like, and I'm not going to click any buttons because something could go wrong. This is an agent that runs on the back end. And what is exciting to me about MCP is it allows you to expose things like this. Not well yet. Again, this is like beta software. MCP doesn't support streaming responses. But you can imagine what could be. And that's what I want to talk about. So we have this thing where effectively what Sentry does is we trace everything in your application. That is, any kind of data you send to our system, we link together. And so I have an issue here. It's probably got a ton of data. Probably no PII in here, but sorry everybody on the internet if there is, but it's got a bunch of data in here from different systems, not just the error report. It's kind of the bread and butter of what we do. We root cause that in a way that I will tell you as somebody who thinks he's good at engineering. It actually impresses me. Like it's what you would theory craft as a senior engineer when you know a system, and it does it phenomenally well. Anyways, that part's actually the useful part of the function. And then we have this semi-functional code generation thing, but let's, for the sake of this, it's actually irrelevant. So what we do, I ran this already. It usually takes a couple minutes. Again, demos, but I'm not going to live demo anything. Doesn't really matter. Try this. It's free right now. It's going to cost a lot of money when it's not free, I'm sure, but it actually goes through in step-by-step, like what's going on. Sometimes it gets it right. Sometimes it's a random JavaScript error, and your guess is as good as mine. But what is cool about this is I have a Sentry URL, and this is where MCP actually has promise. I've copied this, frankly, ugly URL. I dump it into Cursor, and if you can see this little tiny box over here, does this help? Okay. This little tiny box over here, I'm like, hey, I've got a bug. I click the button in the UI, which is like my cheat code because it takes a few minutes, and if I were to do this live, Cursor would eventually bail out. Sentry's already actually figured out what's wrong, and you can't actually do that without sort of this trace data. And so even if somebody shows you a demo, I've written one that is like, fix all the bugs in Sentry with just the error data, it doesn't work. So you actually need this context, and it does it so well. It does that in Sentry, it pulls that in, and then it's like, okay, just use that and generate the fix for me, because what you want and what's cool about MCP is it's contextual. I'm going to fix this in Cursor. Maybe the GitHub magic PR code gen stuff will one day work really well. Reality is we all know it doesn't. It's usually wrong, has mistakes, it doesn't do something right. I also wanted to generate a test for this, and it does. It calls a thing, it gets the information from Sentry, it proposes a change exactly as you'd expect it to, and it actually writes I'd say reasonable fix in this case. Would I approach it this way? I don't know, but it works. It is a solution to the problem. And then, I guess we got this little PR thing. That's cool. One day we'll automate this. That is my demo. We got 30 seconds. I can answer a question, but talk to me afterwards if you want strong opinions about MCP. I blogged a little bit about this. Made some YouTube videos where I rant, but cool. Any questions?